The Cuban Missile Crisis, which occurred in October 1962, was a pivotal moment during the Cold War when the United States and the Soviet Union came dangerously close to nuclear war. Several important lessons can be learned from this crisis. 1. The dangers of nuclear weapons. The Cuban Missile Crisis highlighted the catastrophic consequences of nuclear weapons and the potential for global devastation. The crisis demonstrated that nuclear war is not an abstract concept but a very real and imminent threat. It serves as a reminder of the urgent need for international efforts to prevent the proliferation of nuclear weapons and promote disarmament. 2. The importance of diplomacy. Diplomatic efforts, including negotiation and dialogue, can play a crucial role in resolving conflicts and preventing armed confrontation. The Cuban Missile Crisis was ultimately resolved through diplomatic means, with negotiations between the US and Soviet Union leading to a peaceful resolution. It underscores the need for effective diplomacy and communication channels between nations to prevent conflicts from escalating into military confrontations. 3. The risks of brinkmanship and escalation. The Cuban Missile Crisis demonstrated how the strategy of brinkmanship, where nations push tensions to the edge of war to achieve their objectives, can lead to unintended and dangerous consequences. It also highlighted the risks of escalation, where a crisis can quickly spiral out of control. The crisis serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of taking aggressive actions without fully understanding the potential consequences and risks of escalation. 4. The importance of intelligence and accurate information. Accurate and timely intelligence is critical in crisis situations. During the Cuban Missile Crisis, both the US and the Soviet Union relied heavily on intelligence to assess each other's intentions and capabilities. The crisis underscored the need for reliable and accurate intelligence to inform decision-making and prevent misunderstandings that can exacerbate crises. 5. The value of diplomatic channels and back channels. The Cuban Missile Crisis demonstrated the importance of establishing and maintaining diplomatic channels and back channels for communication, especially during times of crisis. Secret negotiations and communication through back channels allowed the US and Soviet Union to communicate directly and confidentially, which helped in finding a peaceful resolution to the crisis. It highlighted the importance of maintaining open lines of communication even during tense situations. 6. The need for multilateral approaches. The Cuban Missile Crisis also underscored the importance of multilateral approaches and international cooperation in resolving crises. The crisis was not just a bilateral issue between the US and the Soviet Union, but it also involved Cuba and other nations in the region. The crisis highlighted the need for coordination and cooperation among multiple nations to address complex and interconnected crises effectively. 7. The long-term impacts of crises. The Cuban Missile Crisis had long-term impacts on US-Soviet relations and global politics. It led to increased efforts to reduce the risk of nuclear war, including arms control agreements such as the Partial Test Ban Treaty and the establishment of a direct hotline between the US and the Soviet Union to improve communication. The crisis highlighted the lasting effects of crises and the need to manage their aftermath carefully. The Cuban Missile Crisis was a pivotal moment in modern history, providing important lessons on the dangers of nuclear weapons, the importance of diplomacy, the risks of brinkmanship and escalation, the value of accurate intelligence and communication channels, the need for multilateral approaches, and the long-term impacts of crises. These lessons continue to be relevant today in efforts to prevent conflicts and maintain global peace and security.